Welcome to Women Forward, a podcast that we will talk about and also cover the aspect of the intention. Women that start off easy or probably simple, or at the same time they do have a story behind, and I hope that this story will bring forward and inspire all of you out there to have the courage, or women who actually wants to be inspired to take one step forward but you do not know how. So this is the podcast for you. In this episode, we pick up where we left off, continuing our exploration of Beyond the Mic with Wan Jun Yong.
So that's why I want to ask you the question, what was the main element or factor that pulled you out of that despair? What did you do? Who helped you?
You need to help yourself.
Okay.
I'll be honest with you. No one can help you because I thought my husband would be able to help me. But the truth is, you need to first help yourself. And that's where I mentioned about acceptance. Acceptance was the first thing I realized, that by accepting that I was sick, accepting that, I can't do work, I cannot control my life now, change my whole entire treatment for the next 4 rounds. It was not easy, but it was smooth, put it that way. The kind of anxiety and all that was slightly easier compared to the first 2 rounds. The first 2 rounds, I was all up anger. I was full of anger in the sense that I blamed the world. Sorry on the verb.
Yeah.
I blame life. I blame anyone, because it's like, how is it? Why me? Why me? Why? Why such life? As my life is so bad, being born, being an orphan, it's not bad enough. Just when I just got a little bit of, rise in my life, and I'm beaten up back to hell. Those are the things that was in my head. So the word that I use now is the word that I used before those days, not now. And the discovery of myself that I must be willing to change. I must be willing to accept that I'm sick.
Yeah.
Open up me to not putting responsibilities, hope, expectation on others.
Yeah.
Because the part here that I discovered my own changed how I walked through the whole entire last 4 treatments.
Yeah.
That it was painful, it was slow, life was slow, but talking to myself, like, it's okay, Elise, it's okay, one step at a time, it's all right. So I journal a lot. I did journal a lot, like whatever. I keep telling people, if you're not happy, you have depression, you have anxiety, journal. That's the best friend to you, because don't filter. When you journal, a lot of people like to filter, and there are people who journal and you reread the whole entire thing. I don't understand why you don't read your pain. My goodness, the only people like this that they write, they thought like, I don't know. I say, this is not a storybook.
Yeah.
You write, you close the chapter and never look into it again.
Yeah.
So I journal a lot. So I journal every feeling that I have, the tiny bit of that feeling, whether it's hate or angry or blessed, good days, bad days. I write it down how I feel. Once I'm done, I close it and I never look into it. You discover, and for me, I realized that I felt better after that. So that was my avenue to detox.
Right.
So I detox a lot through journaling. And good days, I will write blessed. So there's no formula. Like, there are people say that, no, that you don't write bad things. No, not everybody do have friends. And not everybody do have best friends.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't, what are you going to do? That's when go and journal. Find an avenue that you can trust to begin with. So that was my baby step as a tool to navigate my obstacle as a start. And then my support pillar, which is Tim, I communicate a lot.
Yeah.
Like what I want, what I don't want, what I can and cannot. Eventually, I think I didn't talk to him for 6 months because I can't talk. I was in that cave mode.
Yeah.
That I was more like, I just need to be in this mode for a while until I'm off my treatment.
Yeah.
But after my treatment, I thought it's gonna be like hooray, champagne, yeah. No, it was more miserable. And somebody warned me about it. Like, actually, you'll be a little bit more lost, and
Why
it's
is
gonna
that?
be okay. So there are like cancer survivors who have actually gone through it. They say that you don't be shocked if you feel miserable. And I didn't understand. I said, no, I'm looking forward to it. Like, get the hell out of it. True enough, after the 6th treatment, the professor was like, okay, sign off. All the best. New life. Then he walked off. I was like, what's next? Because the body and the mind is programmed for the past 6 treatments.
Yeah.
That was the routine. Now you
Yeah.
see how powerful our brain and mind is?
Yeah.
We can adapt to any changes
Yeah.
if we know how to open up our mind and body to tell them and program it how we want our brain to operate. And when it was that case, I was like, oh, treatment was over.
And it's like you're thrust into the unknown again. Maybe
Yeah.
that's where
It
the
was
depression's
the
coming.
unknown. That was when the depression happened, the
Yeah.
PTSD happened. And because I did study a minor psychology, I know it's essential. For me, I must do it. For me, I must go and see and seek for help.
Yeah.
It cannot be my husband
Yeah.
because we run the same business. It's not his responsibility to save me. It's my
Correct.
responsibility to save myself.
Yeah.
So I told him that I need to see someone. And he was very open about it. And actually, this is my first time sharing as well. After, I don't know, 3 years. So then my guardian introduced someone to me.
Yeah.
And she has been my guardian angel.
Right.
That then I realized that how important it is to seek help if your support system is not within the family. And it's even better actually.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Because support system, when you seek help within the family, they know you.
Yeah.
There is always this
Bias. Yeah.
or judgmental that they know like, hey, you always like that one.
Yeah.
That moment is there. So if you meet somebody that don't know you, they will listen and be neutral, and
Yeah.
it's their job anyway,
Yeah.
to actually help you to navigate and give you ideas. They don't solve the problem.
Yeah.
So I also learned that later, that psychologists don't solve your problems. So I say, I'm not here to solve your problem, but I'm here to give you ideas how to navigate.
Yeah.
That was when it became my safe space for a while, to overcome a lot of things. In fact, the therapist realized I don't need a lot of help with my PTSD. I need more help with my childhood trauma, which is a lot where the abuse and sexual harassment and all that happened. And I went through around quite a while with her, and then she signed me off. It's like, you don't need to see me anymore. I'm like, no.
You graduated.
Yeah. I was like, no, please keep me.
No, but that must feel so good with your therapist saying that you've got all the skills already to
Exactly.
navigate the world on your own.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I was not ready to let go. I was like, can you please not sign me off? Like, can you please stay? I'll pay. Then she was like, do you know how many people are like dying to get my signature? I said, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't want.
She's probably like, Ellice, you need a friend, not me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no, sometimes it's just lonely because it's not easy, right? So when she signed me off, that was when I considered my new lifestyle. And I was like, okay, she told me one thing before she signed off. She said, look, I've taught you how to surf. I give you all the tools, the techniques to do it. You're doing great, but that's with my help. Now, try to do it on your own. And when you fall, you always have to remember, I'm always here.
Yeah,
I
you
have
can
not
always
going
go back.
away. I'm always here. So that was when I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give it a try. So there's high, there's rise, and there's also low. Where at times that I cannot, I still look for her because I do need some advice. Because I think the beginning was the hardest. After that, I think I know how to pivot already.
Right.
Yeah. So I won't say it's easy, but it has been really a great journey for the past couple of years. And yeah, That's my story.
I'm so happy that you opened up about that, because mental health is something we're only starting to really unpack, especially in Malaysia. And I'm a huge advocate for, seeing a therapist, because I also have never admitted this before, and my own family don't know this, but I also go to therapy. But it's not because, I don't have a support system, or I don't want to tell my problems to my family. It's just so valuable if you have the resources. Obviously, it is still, there's still that kind of boundary, and but if you have the resources, I highly recommend, because seeing a professional really puts things into perspective.
Yes.
And they don't solve your problems, you're right, but they make you ponder upon how you can navigate them, how you can think about them, and how you're never bound by the shackles of your thoughts. And that is so important, and I highly recommend to everyone, whatever problems that you have. And let's be honest, everyone has problems.
It is.
So it is so valuable to talk to a professional.
I kind of told a lot of my friends now, like, look,
Yeah.
you can keep a healthy body. Like, you detox a lot of your body. What about detox your mind?
Yeah.
Like, there's so much here that can turn into garbage
Mm.
that if you don't detox, you see, if your mind shut down, there's no use of having a good body.
Mm.
So you have to clean this one. And the only person to clean should not be the family to bear it. If you could, I mean, unless your family, is a very different crowd,
Yeah.
go and look for someone that, is able to sit there and talk to you
Yeah.
and help you to navigate your moment.
Yeah.
And it's okay. And what I learned is that it's okay if you find that the first person that you met who's a therapy that you're not comfortable, go and continue to search for the one that you're comfortable with.
Yes.
So you can keep switching until you're okay
Yeah.
with the person that you can call a safe space.
Yeah.
So I learned a lot only maybe like 2 years ago
Yeah.
about all these things. It's so new to me. And that was when I realized that, hey, life is, is full of learning. Even at
Yeah.
40, you're like,
Yeah.
you're still learning. So I told myself, don't be too confident and comfortable just because of the age.
Yes, and it's so strange. Like, the longer I've been alive, the more I realize I don't know things, and the more I appreciate my parents, because I am getting a better understanding on why they behaved the way they did. And honestly, they also went through a lot of trauma, but they never had the resources growing up, and money was tight because they needed to raise us, and they never had a second to think of themselves. So now through my own healing, I understand why they act the way they do, and it gives me more compassion to them, or to whoever that is imposing their, let's say, generational trauma on you. Because in Asian societies, that is a thing that we all probably, to a certain extent, whether or not a lot or very little, experience. Because our parents telling us, back in the days, this is the trouble I have. Why are you upset? Your life is so good. Or look at the technology you have now. We had to, I don't know, walk to school, swim in the river or whatever. And yeah.
Yeah, it was like life, like, why are you complaining so much?
Yes.
Like those days, mommy and daddy have only this and that, and
Yeah.
you are not contented enough.
Yeah.
And the list goes on. And there's a lot of comparison. In my family, there's a lot of comparison going on. That's always, my Chinese New Year is called not Chinese New Year, it's called the comparison area.
Oh
You
no.
basically compare things.
Like, who's more successful in the family?
Yeah, who earns more, who gets
Yeah.
the highest grade, and
Yeah.
I think a lot of people kind of know. Auntie, uncle, please don't kill me.
Which gets a bit toxic. Auntie, uncle, stop doing it. Stop comparing.
It's not okay.
Yeah.
Because I think compare in good intention to inspire is good. But if you compare in order to show off, it's not good.
Yes.
Because most of the time, I know the parents try to be proud about their kid,
Yeah.
but it gives pleasure to the kid actually. That, oh my God, next year my mom or my dad is gonna
Yeah.
compare something else. There's a pressure there
Yeah.
for the kid actually to do the best of the best.
Yeah.
But what if that kid slipped for once? Is it a big no?
Yeah.
And that's not life, because those life where education is, it is important, but is the only thing? No.
Yeah.
We are
Exactly.
in an era where you can be creative, you can be street smart,
Yeah.
you can do a lot with life. That's why we
Correct.
have a lot of conversation, be entrepreneur, then you can make a lot of things with Bitcoin, crypto, and the world, and the sky is
Yeah.
the limit.
Yeah. And there's a saying, like, if you make a fish, I don't know, I'm butchering this saying. If you make a fish climb a tree, it's gonna think that it's stupid for its entire life. And it's like, just find your talent, whatever you're good at, hone it. You can make a career out of it, whatever that thing is. And I think the comparing part, if it's in the expense of someone else, don't do it. Like, it's okay to praise, but not at the same time put someone else down. I think it tend to get very toxic in all our Chinese New Year or Hari Raya or Deepavali when we have a big family gathering.
I think you were trying to avoid it. I was one of them, but I can't. Because my rotan is always at home.
It's time to stand up for yourself at our age now and be like, Auntie, that ain't cool. Stop saying that.
Yeah, I mean, the motivation part. Most important is like, let's not talk about each other's grade. Like in Europe, like we both, have, a spouse who is non-Asian. Like in Europe, I learned that they don't talk about that. Their conversation is about the weather, the news, the politics, so a lot of things, but there's nothing about first thing you meet, ayo, you sleep already,
you're fat already. Mostly it's you're fat already. No, you're sleep already.
That's the first conversation, right? And then it's like, how much money you earn now, which company you work with, and every year it's a repetitive thing. Like there's nothing else to talk about, and it's okay. Sometimes you want to bring it as a conversation. But there are, like I say, conversation that goes competition, it's not healthy. Yeah. It's no longer a healthy conversation to have. Yeah. And I don't want to do it. So like Christmas, when I go back to where I'm from, Netherlands, I always like having a conversation with people, because the fastest is where people catch up about how's business doing, like what are the challenges that they face.
It's more inspiring.
Yeah, it's more inspiring that they're not alone running a business. It's not about how much billion I earned this year, blah blah blah, what car I bought, and nobody cares. Yeah, I think in the Netherlands nobody cares. Yeah, the more expensive car you drive,
we're looked down upon, right? Because everyone cycles actually. Actually, in my life, I look at my life here and there. I also cycle everywhere. It's really, you can look at it as a downgrade, but I look at it as an upgrade because my quality of life is better.
Exactly. It's weird. It's complete shift as well for me. Like it was a culture shock for me that people are very humble in the Netherlands. People don't compare in terms of materials and wealth. They compare almost nothing, but just where do you hike this year? Which mountain that you've conquered? Yeah. It's more of that kind of conversation. But I think it's much more important for us these days rather than chasing for numbers. It is important, like we need to make a living, that's for sure, even myself. But to what extent? The question is something a lot of people don't ask themselves. If you're earning $1 million this year, when you get the $1 million, what are you going to do? Is it you're going to chase for 20 million? And what happens if you get 20 million and you chase for what, 100 million? Yeah. So is there a stop for yourself in life where you call the goal in life? Yeah. And I have that, which I discovered when I was sick. So I was like, oh, that's life. I guess that's where I believe that I was forced to stop to think about life for once. Yeah. And that changed how I run Orangeleaf here as well. Yeah, that's how, like making sure that everyone is healthy, do their yoga, by mandatory instructions, and
forcing them to take care of their mental health.
Yeah, they have to, because I have people tell me that, I'm too busy. And when they burn out, they're like, company made me burn out. No, nobody made me burn out. You have to take charge of your life, go when you go. And in Orangeleaf, we always talk about working 40 hours, and they have to be locked into a timesheet so that we can see where they missed out. Yeah. If they do, we will always have a conversation like, why are you doing more than what you should?
Right. That conversation. Like, why weren't you productive in 40 hours? Why do you need to do overtime when you could have done it in 40 hours?
Exactly. Yeah. We have that conversation. So yeah, that's important. But coming back to our conversation, we talk about life, career. So the whole entire podcast we set up this, like the intention I want to set up this is like inspire more women out there. Now I'm not talking about those already exist, like communities that is already ladies that are there in the corporate ladder. I believe they are fine. No offense. But there are ladies out there, ladies and gentlemen, there are M40 and B40 that they also want to be there, or maybe be promoted or be successful. Yeah. But there is a gap that it's never easy to close, because I've been a B40 myself. I'm lucky that along my way I met people that I was pretty thick-faced to go and talk about it.
Yeah.
Now, what about other people out there that maybe in your life that you've gone through that, you can share a bit with our audience that how do you overcome that kind of challenges being ordinary to extraordinary?
I mean, I don't know if I can speak about
being extraordinary.
Thank you.
You interview all the cool guys in MotoGP.
Thank you. I mean, I still look at it like I'm part lucky and part have worked very hard, but I have to preface by saying that I do think there is a lot of privilege with having the existing network already, and a lot of people, let's say in middle class or upper middle class, and of course if you're very rich, they come and they navigate life with a certain privilege that they are blind to. And I think for me, my family is a middle class family, and my mother and my father, they're both educators, so they run a kindergarten, and my mother was a teacher for a long time. So I would say we were comfortable growing up because my parents did work their behind off, but I never knew the hardship that they did. And I acknowledge that if you grew up in a way that you know hardship, you are just spending most of your time trying to survive, that you cannot open your eyes to certain opportunities that are out there. So let me just acknowledge that first. If you are in a position where you see the first opportunity, please just grab it. Because when I started my career with ATV Quickie, it's not because I knew anybody in media. They opened up an audition to anyone. So my mother saw the ad on ATV. They were looking for hosts. And at that point, 3 of us won the competition. So 3 of us had an into the broadcasting world. And from ATV Quickie, I did that for around about a year and a half, 2 years. And then I had my subsequent opportunities. But those later opportunities came only because I was already inside the world. I had an in already. So to get that first in, that's the most difficult part, which is why I said luck played a part. My mother saw the ad. She texted me. I went for the audition, and I had the skills to be one of the front runners and eventually become one of the hosts. So the skills, yes, I was forced by my parents to go for all these competitions. You know, when you're kids, you don't know what you want, and I did all these competitions. So it's almost like my skills were honed since I was a child. So things just did align for me. But a lot of people have talent too, and even if you never had the experience in school, you know you have a talent or desire to do whatever it is you want to do. So in my case, it's just to be a host, but it could be anything that you want to do, and to grab that opportunity when you have it. Networking is very important. If you know a friend that is working in the industry that you want to get a foot in, go out with a friend, buy a coffee for that friend, ask a friend if he knows any opportunities in that arena. Ask this said friend to introduce you to more people, because you never know when an opening is coming, and that's how you get your first foot in. And I really think once you get your foot in the door, things will align. Maybe not exactly as how you picture it, and please don't get me wrong, challenges will come, but to get that first foot in is the key, I think, to do what you want to do.
Was it intimidating?
Absolutely. Until today, I still feel jitters, butterflies, but I do have that self-belief now, because I do have that experience in knowing that I can get the job done. It just never stops me from, feeling anxious about going on air, wondering if I belong in that space, but I have to switch that mindset in order to come and be confident and bring out the most confident side of me and really switch into my A game, because the part of me that's on TV is often the best version of me. So that's not me all the time, and everyone is multifaceted. There's a part of you that maybe you don't want the world to see, or the part of you that is down or feels depressed or is depressed, that needs to be tucked away. I wouldn't say hidden, because that's a very important element to face and to feel and to deal with, to sit with, and maybe if you have the resources, go to a therapist and talk through that. But yeah, when I'm working, I bring my A game. I am the best version of myself, and I have to hype myself up. No one's going to hype you up. No one's going to come to me and say, June, Well, you do. You hype me up. You're my best hype woman, but I can't bring you on site and be like, yeah, good job. I have to hype me up and be like, yeah, you can do this, girl. Yeah, you got this. And I have to be the one to talk to myself. And you know how that feels like. The only person that can help you is you.
Exactly.
And you have to constantly do that and show up for yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if you say no to yourself or no to an opportunity,
Who's going to say yes to you then if you said no already?
yeah, because you don't believe in yourself.
Hey, you all. Thanks for following us and supporting us on our podcast. So stay tuned for the next episode. See you all.